When creating a dance work, it's really important to consider all of the different theatrical elements in order to tell the story. Lighting, music, costume, and set design.
When composing music for shows, it's really important to use different styles of music to represent each of the characters. The cello is where I really like to start making most of my music, and a lot of the themes actually came from the cello. So Red's theme, for instance, it's the main theme that you'll hear coming in. The Little Brothers theme is much more sinister than that. For the wolf, there's lots of horns, oboes, and other wind and brass instruments, and some percussion, and including cymbals as well. But the thing that we did a lot of the time was actually I got the string players to make some kind of weird sounds when we went through the forest.
The role of the costume designer is to create each costume that the characters wear. That involves choosing the look, the fabric that the costumes are made from, the colour, and the style of the garment. Not only do the costumes tell us who the character is, but they also tell us a place too. So is this story happening now, or is it happening in the future or the past? And it helps the dancer inhabit the role. The creative process in developing the costumes is very collaborative, and that involves all of the team, the creative team, getting together and discussing the project over a long period of time. So the story evolves.
When creating the wolf, Tristan Parr, the composer, came up with a somewhat sinister musical theme. The design team and I then came up with the idea of splitting the wolf in two, so that children could see that he was a construct, that he was make-believe. So the tail was played by one dancer and the head was played by another.
I think the wolf was my favourite costume because it was a very challenging character to create. It wasn't just a costume that the dancer has to don and then inhabit. That was a puppet.
So how do you put a forest on stage? You don't. You suggest a forest, then the children fill in the gaps. We chose white poles so that the lighting designer, Ben Cistern, could change the colours of the poles to help tell the story.
A lighting designer chooses where all the different lights go, chooses what ones are going to be on at what times and what colours they're going to be, who they're going to be pointing at. The lighting designer sets up each scene and decides how bright it will be and how it changes from this scene to the next scene. The lighting is very important in telling the story because it is what leads all the transitions in a space. The set changes too, but the lighting tells us how to feel. The amount of light on stage can set the mood, and also the colour of light or the direction of light can set the mood. So somewhere like Grandma's house, when Grandma is very comfortable and not scared, we have a nice warm space. Whereas in Grandma's house, when it gets a bit scary, it gets a bit darker and a bit more colourful. A really good example of this is Red. When Red is feeling empowered, all of the lights focus in on Red and get really bright, and they show that she's feeling really strong and ready to fight the wolf. When you're ending a scene, you need to leave the audience with a particular reaction to what's just happened in that scene. But also, you need to tell them that something's coming along. So what we do is we use lighting to smooth that transition or to create that transition in some way.
It's a collaborative effort, and it's something that you do that involves a lot of other people as well, and that the best performance comes from everybody who's working, who's performing, who's creating costumes and lighting and sets and music and creating the movement, all work together in a creative and harmonious way, and that's when you get something really beautiful and amazing.